What is up, everybody? Welcome to the first official CLG FGC podcast discussion video thing. I think we're kind of working out the format here. we'll leave it up to the viewers maybe to recommend some titles to help guide us for what we want to call this thing. But basically, we're here to talk about all things fighting games with the FGC pros here on the call. I'm Brian F. I'm joined by Apologyman and Romolla today. I guess Cuddlecore is too busy practicing to be
doing unimportant things like playing Tekken.
Getting very good placements all the time.
Yeah.
Every time I look at Twitter, she's like, it's always like, something huge, like second.
Just accomplish this, and this. I'm like, damn.
Yeah. I'm just like, damn.
I wish that was that cool. Yeah, no, seriously.
I thought fighting games were about talking the entire time.
Yeah, I know.
Not about playing. Well, that's what we're here to do, talking, because there's been actually a ton of fighting game news that came out within the past week, and which is nice in some ways. Most of the news is positive, I would say.
That's a majority.
Yeah, it was pretty dry for a while. I mean, there wasn't too many updates coming up. Of course, the biggest one that I think most of the FGC and outside FGC is looking forward to is Project L. We finally got an update. It's not vaporware, it's real software. So they released a dev update, and it's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, I think I'm not much of a team game player. I think the closest game I've ever played to it is it's probably Dragon Ball. Honestly, I haven't played very many, but I think the last reveal was really, really good. Showed a lot to be interested in. Before it was they showed it was alive, but didn't show a ton with it, and I didn't really know what to expect. But hearing a lot of the mechanics and what they have planned, I think sounds really, really good. I'm interested to hear how Vinny feels about it.
Dude, because before they kind of only really talked about really cool features like free to play and the online sounding really good. But so I was really excited to finally see some more concrete gameplay details. And for me personally, with team games, one thing I like outside of building cool team strategies and stuff is the movement options those games give you. And dude, I can't explain how happy I was to see the movement that they showed in the game. They showed the wave dashing, and they showed the screen size. They showed them wave dashing all the way back. I was like, yes, this is home for me. So I'm super pumped seeing that kind of stuff. And they kind of showed some of their new tag mechanic as well. It's kind of like BB tag where you it's like a takeover, when you call your assist. So that was pretty interesting as well. And they also have the traditional assists that Marvel is kind of known for as well. So it's cool seeing that. And they also showed the burst mechanic. They have a kind of a counter tag from all MVCI and BB tag as well. So it was cool to see finally gameplay after kind of a long time.
One of the most interesting things to me, because I also am more of a 1v1 kind of player. There was that part in the update where they're for a while we were doing a 1v1 game, and I'm like, that would have been nice,
Yeah, you like team games?
I like team games for fun and just competitive wise. I'm definitely way more versed in 1v1 games, but I dabble DBFZ, MVC3. I play casually, and I love watching them. I mean, I think UMVC3 to me is the best spectator game of all time. So I think that choice for them to do that makes the most sense in terms of just broad appeal, right? It always allows for more flashier combinations, more degenerate type mechanics, right? I feel when you do a 1v1 game, generally it has to be more tame just by the nature of it. But with having team-based games, it kind of opens up the ability, you lose one character, you're still in it, so it can get a little bit more nasty with the mix-ups, and this allows you to be a bit more fluid with the mechanics. And it lulls a team game, right? I feel it makes the most sense for not just the gameplay style, but mainstream appeal. So I do agree with the choice, but it was slightly disappointing. I was I would have been better versed in a 1v1, but I get it. By all accounts, it makes the most sense to go 2v2.
Yeah, I feel I felt the same way. It's 2v2s or 3v3s. I pretty much always just watch them. Because it just did not click for me as much. Project Hill is pretty much the first game I'm really investing the time into really grinding. I think I'm super interested in it. Like Vinny said, I really like the movement in it. I think the way that they showed movement in the last reveal is really, really interesting. I really like movement in like 1v1 games. Not always like super focused in them, but I feel like that's one thing that team games always are way more interesting with. Like general movement and like you said, like mix. It can be a lot more like Wild West, I think, and I think that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's better visually, right? Like Street Fighter is like not about movement at all. It's like about the minutia of like, oh, I'm at this pixel rather than this pixel, right? Which I don't think is always as exciting for people who just glance at it right away.
Yeah.
So I feel like for capturing the market that is like the giant LOL fan base, it makes more sense to go with something like that, to just immediately be like, wow, look at the spectacle. Like immediately it looks flashy and cool. So I think it was the right choice.
I'm wondering maybe that was a part of their decision as well, just to kind of capture like, oh, there's all in the MOBA, there's all these different team combinations, all these characters and different interactions. So maybe the team game can kind of like breed that that DNA into the fighting game, and maybe just like a 1v1 wasn't really doing that, maybe. But they did swap like pretty recently, actually. I thought because the game has been in development, I think, for a while. So, like they only said 2 years ago they switched to it being a team game, and they brought on like a lot of people, like from what I understand, like that have worked on like team games and stuff. So I have a lot of faith in what they're doing, just because of like the people that are working on it. But yeah, it's definitely more chaotic in the competitive scene. I think like team games, like the biggest turnoff for them is just stuff gets a little too degenerate, and you're like, oh man, like it's cool to see, like, but you gotta really grit your teeth together to put up with some of the bullshit, you know. But I love that stuff. So personally, that
of course you love that stuff, dude. You're the originator of the BS, dude.
I'm a bullshit ambassador,
which is why I love watching you play MVC3. But I would never, ever want to play against you, right? Like, like whenever I tell people my favorite players in MVC3, like you or KBR, they're like, you disgusting heathen, like. How could you support such degeneracy? It's fun to watch from a distance.
Oh yeah,
but that's what I was wondering about the tag mechanics, because BB tag, I didn't know too much about it, but from what I know from the people who really like dove into that game, they're like, this game is disgusting.
Yeah, like, that game is also really gross.
And so people were saying that the tag mechanic is similar to BB tag, so I'm wondering like, like what kind of can of worms are we opening up here?
Yeah. I heard a lot of people compare it to BB Tag. I didn't really play BB Tag, but I think if it is similar, that'll be really interesting, because a lot of people did not think like BB Tag would really carry over to any other game. You know what I mean? Like they were like, it's a pretty unique game in terms of
for sure. I think in terms of what BB Tag kind of brought to the team game formula that was I think a little bit new is the sandwich situations that you create in that game with their cross assault thingy or whatever. So one mechanic that's like a really common mix up that you set up in BB Tag is you do like a special move that kind of comes out a little later, and the mix up is, do I tag to the other character in the sandwich and make it a cross up or a same side? So seeing that tag mechanic, I was like, uh-oh. But I don't know if the swap was quite as fast. There's like a little bit of a screen freeze, so maybe it'll be like reactable, but who knows? But I can tell they're going for some of that sandwich team game dirt, you know. It's also in the Power Rangers fighting game as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Power Rangers one. I was actually thinking, I was gonna say, compared to like a lot of solo games, there's not been very many team games, right? Like recently, it's been like what, Power Rangers and then Dragon Ball, right? Like in the past few years.
Yeah. There hasn't really. There was kind of like a team game boom, I'd say. It's like Marvel Infinite, Dragon Ball, BB Tag, and then Power Rangers. But then they kind of just stopped after that.
Yeah. It feels like it really, really stopped. So
yeah, they didn't really stick.
Yeah. So I'm really excited, just also for the fact that it's like different. Like you said, like I like the kind of monotony of how like neutral can be sometimes in solo games, but I'm really excited for it also just because it's just a new team game that's we've not really seen, you know.
So how heavily did you play DBFZ, Romolla?
I played a lot for the first month.
Right.
Enough, I will say, enough to be on the Yoga Flame. Got a
Yoga Flame video? Okay.
Yeah. But after that, I pretty much disappeared. Like as soon as Brawly released, I was nowhere to be found.
Oh, damn, I wonder what the Romolla team was. It's probably
It was Ginyu, Goku Black, and Go Tanks.
Not my Romolla. What? No
What
way.
is that?
That was the first patch though. So like everyone was like, Go Tanks so bad, bro. And then
Yeah.
you know,
Just
like
so
a month later, they're finding like setups with Ghost and stuff. I was like, this dude's annoying. I think he's fun.
I thought we would have the same team. I was playing 16 Cell Vegeta. You know, I was team top tier for the first month.
Yeah, I should have. I had too much of like a chip on my shoulder. You know, I was like, no one else is playing him.
That's funny.
I see
I remember
that.
Peppery also played Ginyu. Maybe it was something in the Canadian water. I don't know.
Playing Ginyu, like on the very first release, you're definitely trying to stand out. I think you know what I mean.
Yeah,
that
for sure.
Was considered pretty curious.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was funny playing that game and trying to like really wrap my head around like assist while doing combos, because I played MVC3 prior to that a little bit and I had a few combos, but that was always such a strange thing to treat the assist like another move essentially, and like time that, like the assist timing for combo pickups and everything. That was always so weird to me. So I'm glad I at least got over that hump, because I played up until Evo. The first Evo of DBFZ, and I was okay, but at least I got over that, because I do want to invest in this game a lot, and I feel like just having no tag experience you're at such a disadvantage.
I was in like the same boat. I could not press the assist whatsoever. It felt like the equivalent of like spilling milk over my keyboard every time I went to go press the assist button.
Dude, juggling with assists is hard. Like that is a really like unintuitive thing, and also like there's different rules for when assist will activate.
The cooldowns.
And just like when you can press the assist. Like it was very unintuitive to someone who's like, oh, while I'm doing one move, I cannot activate another move, right? But with an assist, you could, and it was all very strange. So.
I think maybe the League players will maybe be good at dealing with the cooldowns, at least, maybe, because they're just so used to like juggling like so many different cooldowns. So I don't know.
I think the big thing is the League players are going to smoke us. That's
you think so,
bro? First of all, Adrian on CLG is about to smoke all of us. Adrian is mad nasty at Strive and DBFZ already. I played with him. Like the only game I could beat him in is Street Fighter, and he was catching up quick.
Okay.
And, he used to beat me so bad in
DBFZ he's mad good.
And Strive. Yeah, and he's a League player. I'm telling you, there's going to be so many people. We already had that right now with Street Fighter 5, right? The big story right now is Ending Walker. He's a 16-year-old kid from the UK who like was smoking all of Europe, winning majors, and he just qualified for Capcom Cup, and he won like 14 billion tournaments in a row. And now he's in Capcom Cup, and he's 16, and he came from Minecraft and just started beating everybody.
Wait, you're serious?
So, I'm serious. Yeah. He was like, his name is Ending Walker, which is from Ender Walker, which is a Minecraft.
Oh my god, right? I should have known. Okay, yeah.
Right. So what I'm saying is, I really feel like we have the potential. Like to me, like it's cool that we finally got gameplay and all that, because we've just been hearing about it for a long time. But why are we so interested in it? Because it's Riot, League of Legends, huge IP, huge player base, right? I think we're gonna have so many people who are going to get good quick at this game, who have no prior FGC experience, and just start smoking the competition. Like the top players, like the tournament results, I think we're going to have a completely new cast of characters. Some returning pros and all that, like familiar faces.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of new blood to do work in this game.
I think it's because of the rollback age partially too, along with this like mass appeal that League has, but just from Strive experiencing just all these new cats like come out of nowhere, like Nubenheimer never like went to a major ever, like just trained online, came to his first major and won it. Umi Show, like there's a lot of those players like popping up within Strive, and I kind of attribute it to like the good netcode, and I feel like that trend is going to continue for sure into Project L. Like just people who you've never heard of, they just grind super hard online, get really good, and why wouldn't they? Why couldn't they be some League player?
I feel like the age of like the FGC superiority complex, like there's so many fighting game players swear that like they're so much better at gaming because they're good at fighting games, and I just think, dude, you're a big fish in a small pond. Like once we open the floodgates and have so many more people competing, there's so many gamers out there,
there's gamers.
I don't even consider myself a gamer. Like I suck at other games. Like I'm slow to pick up games. I just took one lane and I got like really narrowed in on it and stuck with it for a long time.
I pick Balrog and I do tap.
Yeah, exactly. I just like, this is what I do. Like being really good at this one thing. But there's other people out there who just get good at everything, and I think those people are the ones like playing League of Legends, playing the MOBAs, playing whatever. I really feel like we're gonna get smoked. I think there's going to be a lot of people smoking a lot of legacy players, and it's going to be really interesting to see.
Yeah, I think like it's partially like way back, it was really hard to get information consistently in fighting games. I feel like it's not so much the case anymore between like Twitter and more consistent YouTube uploaders and stuff like that. But like before, it was like if you had like an info advantage on someone, like you could just cook them forever.
Yeah,
like, or it'd be like frame data or like knowledge text.
Well, not even that, just experience. Like, before you had to go to somebody's garage to play the game. You know how wild that is to say? Like I used to carry my Xbox in my backpack and lug a CRT to some random dude's house that I didn't know to play a video game. Like, that's just like crazy talk. Like, you're gonna get kids are gonna get kidnapped. You know what I mean? Like, you could not facilitate young people to play the game. Because playing the game online, especially like 2012 and prior, when it was everything was delay based, just sucked. It was just not the same game. So I feel like the door is blown open. People can actually play online and get good.
Yeah, unless you had like a good scene, it was really hard to get good. Honestly,
it was always like I remember for Guilty Gear, it was always like New York and like Cali, and that was like basically it.
yeah, it's tough. But the big thing with Project L, I hope, is it's hard to make like a really chaotic game and still have it, I guess, like still be really fun without it going like too far. Like one thing I got really annoyed with in Dragon Ball was the game just was too safe. Like there's anytime I wanted to do something like really fun or cool, there was like some sort of rule within DBFC that would just be like, no, you can't do that. It was just a ton of big no fun zone. So with League, like just having this like mass appeal to get like all these players in, I feel like there's a possibility for them to just make a really crazy game, because it looks like they're making the characters pretty crazy, and like still like keep all these new people that are gonna try it like on it, like I want that retention to be really good.
One other thing I want to talk about that is the follow-up they had to the tweet where they announced the video, because they showed the developer footage, and like you mentioned, like, you trusted the people working the game. They showed a lot of FGC people. There was some few like 1 second clips. I was like, oh, I know that guy. Like, there's like Up to Snuff and stuff, and like other people. I didn't even know they were working on the game. So it seems like they're really trying to tap into the community, because I remember one of the initial rumors when the game was announced was like, oh, they're gonna have exclusivity contracts for top players will have to only play the Riot Fighter. And the big discussion was, would you give up every fighting game to play only Project L? Like, that was like what everyone was tweeting about, because there was nothing to go on. But then their immediate follow-up was like, oh, like, what's going on in your local scene? Like, what are you working on? Like, we're trying to engage. And in the video as well, they're saying they're trying to engage with local communities. So I feel like they're also making an effort to calm that down a little bit. Like, look, our immediate goals, at least not yet, is to come in and force everyone to play only Project L for the rest of their lives. And they're actually trying to like work with local scenes. So I appreciate that gesture, because I do feel like it's kind of died down a little bit, but that was a big talking point, that like Riot's gonna destroy the FGC and we're gonna have to sign our life away to play Project L. So that was really good to see. I feel like
I think there's an understandable fear of a big game developing company having the rights to do whatever they want and maybe shut down tournaments and stuff. So maybe they're just kind of dispelling those fears, actually signal boosting a lot of these locals. So. Yeah, I'm having a lot more faith after seeing their dev diary.
Yeah,
definitely.
Before, I mean, I didn't expect anything like that. That kind of sounds like like a Twitter. Would you give up X so you get $1 million sort of deal? You know what I mean?
That's exactly what it was. People were saying, like, if you were paid $1 million to be a professional Project L player, would you quit every other fighting game? It was like, classic like Facebook
every day,
Facebook 2008 style posts like going all over, because there was nothing about Project L out. That was the whole narrative.
I never thought of it like that, though. I'm glad you told me, because I never saw that, and that's fantastic. I mean, they don't have to do any of that, so the fact that they're really making an effort is really, really nice. And especially like not many org or companies have really gone out of their way to be like that with like locals on a small like scale at all.
I think there's been a few. I mean, I would say Capcom has actually made a decent effort. Like they did the World Warrior program, so they have the Capcom Pro Tour, and they have the individual one-off online tournaments where you qualify, you get in, but more than half of the people who qualify for Capcom Cup come from this thing called the World Warrior program, where you play 5 tournaments in your region, and then the top 8 people go to one last tournament to qualify. But basically, every region is completely operated by the local TO and streamer.
Oh,
And, and they 100% like use their branding, use their logo. Like they're completely run, and they'll like retweet. Like they don't stream it themselves on their channel, on the Capcom channel, but they integrate it with that to a degree. And it's like, okay, like, yeah, like you will crown someone for Capcom Cup from your local, basically, your online local. And that's all over the world. There's like 26 people. Like there's 19 people, I think, who get in through CPT. 26 get in through World Warrior. So there's been at least some efforts, I feel like, to kind of integrate in a
Dragon Ball and Tekken
manner.
Also kind of made like a small effort at that too.
The dojo system.
Yeah, the dojo system, and there's the Tenkaichi events for Dragon Ball. For if your local got this like certain amount of players, it could count for points. So yeah, I hope they like keep that energy. I think that's good.
Right.
That's just making me jealous because
it was just like go to these tournaments and win.
But it reminds me, Guilty Gear had one for Exert, and it was like it was pretty much like fan made, pretty much. It was not even by Arxos, and one guy pretty much just like farmed his local so much that he actually ended up qualifying over like bears or like,
oh wait, what really?
Right.
Yeah, like he ended up like being number one from just farming his locals, and no one else really like played up as much.
Okay.
That's what comes to mind for a lot of like previous we're trying
Sure.
to
Yeah, there's always kinks to work out in those systems for sure.
It depends on game popularity region.
Even like I think the dojo system in Tekken had a similar thing. Like people were inflating like sign up numbers to give more points. There's always some stuff that goes on with that. The World Warrior program is pretty straightforward because it doesn't matter. You just have to win in your region. So like it's a guaranteed spot. So I think it avoids that. But yeah, it's never perfect, but at least they make positive efforts rather than trying to shut everything down. Hint, hint, wink, wink, foreshadowing. But okay, Project L. I don't know if you guys have anything left to add on that. We do have other topics to get to.
Oh, yeah, I'm just hyped. I'm just super hyped.
Pretty much. I'm just hyped.
Yeah,
excited
more gameplay.
To do some 2v2 things.
Of course. Next topic. There's been so many updates in the I feel like there was nothing for 3 months straight, and then suddenly all these companies dropping updates. One that came out, which is interesting to me, DNF Duel Patch finally announced, which I feel like was supposed to happen after month 1. Maybe should have happened after month 1.
Speaking of degenerate games.
Did you guys see the video? Maybe we can bring it up because my main takeaway from this balance patch update, like they haven't announced the specifics of the gameplay itself, but they're really leaning into that motif of never nerf, only buff. And that's something they mentioned several times. And I think I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that, because I have pretty strong opinions on that direction. Because the first thing they showed was health buff and guard gauge buff to all characters, right? And I'm like, that's just another way of saying damage nerf and stun and guard break nerf.
Now you could hit them more with more.
Like you nerfed Striker. That's what you did.
So, now she has to hit you 3 times.
Right. So buff for more than 100 skills. So I mean, at least they're doing an update. I'm interested in it, but I feel like what the game needed was nerfs.
I'm not really I'm not a believer in the only buff philosophy. I feel like no matter what, in some way you're gonna nerf another character, even if you don't intend to. Like you said, there's shit like where if you increase health or guard gauge, you're gonna inherently nerf other characters that could just kill you off of a guard burst, which I mean, I'm not really for that. From 100 to 0, that happened to me so many times with Striker. Oh
my god, Striker's so
my
dumb.
Patience for her is null.
Right. Yeah. The 3 things they mentioned there was guard gauge, health, and buffing the roll. Right. And I'm like, okay, so you just nerf Striker. like that's a buff to every character. Every character with better neutral got buffed. Right.
Yeah. Hitman. Yeah.
you need more interactions to win now, which means better neutral characters are better, and then offensive like lockdown characters are worse, right? So it's weird, like double speak to me. I don't know why there's been this like weird push, like buffing is always better.
I kind of understand the philosophy in the sense that I know players, when they see patch notes, nerfs hurt more than buffs feel good. Like I get that, but you gotta, I don't know, you can't listen to these gamers, man. You gotta see the full picture of the game. Like come on, but maybe DNF is a little different because the game knows it's just stupid and it's trying to be stupid. Like that's what I think. Like I want to give this game exception at least because I hope Strive like that isn't the case with its patch like that's coming out, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, in general, I don't really agree with that philosophy as much. The more I've played fighting games like competitively,
I think it's a popcorn. It's like a buzzword and a popcorn type of change list to get
buffs.
People who aren't like super
the red's
hardcore
too damn
in.
high. More buffs.
Yeah, it's for people who aren't super hardcore in the game to get them excited. Because I agree, like when people see nerfs, they do get discouraged. But I don't know, some buffs feel really good. I've been nerfed and buffed. I don't know. Sometimes some buffs feel better than the nerfs. But yeah, nerfs can be definitely very demoralizing. Like especially if you nerf something that is like it's essential to your expression with the character, like what makes it fun for you. Not like a damage nerf or like a stun nerf, where like sometimes that doesn't matter too much in how you play. It just means you have to hit them one more time. But like removing a tool or a combo route, people get kind of
those hurt.
Yeah, you get kind of attached to those things, and you're like, oh great, I have to relearn a whole new route. Like you have to go through that pain of like muscle memory reallocation, and not for something new, but because you lost something that you had before. So I get that, and I agree with you about DNF Duel. Though DNF Duel is definitely leaning into that Kusage, however you say it.
Kusage,
I can never say that word right, but like they lean into that heavily, so I get it for this game. And I'm interested. Like, I'm definitely going to check it out. Like, but I do feel like that all buffs is like they're kind of lying. Like, you essentially nerf certain characters.
I mean, even just like if you just give another character like a great option that deals with their archetype, I mean, you could just nerf them through something like that. There's so many ways. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I also think like most people say that because they are afraid of like this is my favorite button, they nerfed it, I don't want to stop using it sort of deal. But I mean, it doesn't always solve the problem, and it like I mean, pretty much you'll always end up dealing with something just stupider that they overbuff X character, and people are just gonna hate it. So I feel like it's like the natural progression is to be like, oh, I want only buffs, and then they overbuff like I don't know, like Enchantress or something, or like Launcher, and then it's like
and they're like, oh, just kidding, go back.
Only nerfs actually.
JK,
yeah, like some characters, it sounds harsh, but I do believe that some characters deserve to not be as good. Like for the trade-off, like a healthy meta. Like some characters are inherently toxic in how they play, and I think you kind of know when you play one of those characters. Like I feel like a lot of the doll characters and stuff like that have like overwhelming mix-ups. Like I guess we have Zato and Guilty Gear Strive for a top tier example. But yeah, some characters get real nasty, and sometimes you don't want them top tier. Like even Grappler, like my complaint was, I want Grappler to be better. But like at the end of the day, I get why he has like horrible matchups in that game because no one wants a top tier Grappler. Like, so I get it.
Frame
like
one tackle, full screen. He's +6. And then strike throw for
keep the infinite.
right. But I wonder what their goal was with the patch, because I feel a little bad. Like we're mostly framing this negative. Like I thought DNF Duel was so cool on release, and I just felt like the reason like I didn't stick with it as happy is just because I feel like offense was just too easy to apply, whereas countering offensive pressure required you to have like a PhD in the matchup, right? Like it was just too different amounts of mental stack. Like offensive mental stack is like nothing. Like you just press your sequence and then they're about to be guard broken. But to properly counter and defend against it, you had to like know
like
so much
roll in certain places. And
the roll was so bad that you had to know exactly. You had to know exactly when you could do it, and it was still a guess. So it wasn't even guaranteed when you learned the matchup thoroughly. So I feel like that was a big problem. So I like that they're buffing the guard gauge and all that to nerf the offense.
At least with the defense in the game, like it definitely felt kind of limiting for me personally. Like that's like fighting Striker, for example, right? It's like, okay, I'm blocking a thing, I have to guard cancel. Like, okay, now I cannot block another thing or it's over. And that feeling, I don't know. I personally, for me, just coming from, I guess, Strive and even Marvel 3, just having more passive defensive mechanics of like push block, FD, that stuff is like way more interesting to me. So at DNF, it's like, it's guard cancel. That's it. And I got a DP, I guess. So I don't know. Like I guess they were just like, maybe we just make the guard bar more so you can guard cancel more. But we'll see. We'll see where the game goes. But I'm just a little worried for the game. Like I hope this is enough, to like get people playing the game a lot, because I feel like its popularity definitely dipped a lot lately, and I really hope this isn't too little too late, you know?
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this game a lot because it was like anime Street Fighter at first, like a nice, easy pickup game, but then it felt like chewing bubblegum almost, like, oh, this is losing flavor quick was the problem. But I still watch it here and there. Like, Yipes has like the can opener series, and I love watching him commentate the tournament, but I could watch Yipes commentate paint dry, so
yeah, it's a little biased.
It's a little loaded.
I feel that.
Like, I still tune into events here and there, but I really, really, really wanted this patch to really shake up the meta because like stuff like Hitman, DP, like even if they did nerf that, they did have one patch where they nerfed Swiftmaster, Hitman, and who was the third? Striker, maybe?
Striker, yeah. They made like the DP into I forget, like the follow up extension. Yeah, like it's not gapless. Right? Like you could like DP, or it was hard to make gapless from what I understood. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So like they did minor nerfs, but I wanted them to gut the character. Like me personally, I was like, you really need to adjust this. Like you really need to make this not as mindless. So I think they're sticking to their guns with how they want the game to be played. Which I think for the hardcore community, that if they like it, that's good. And I hope they enjoy it, but I was a little disappointed with that game overall. I feel like the package wasn't like good enough. I think it was just an example of how like you came out with it. It should have been almost free to play. Like there was no content in it. The IP wasn't strong in the West. I don't know.
There's a lot of things to point to. There's a lot of things to point to. It's hard to like pinpoint exactly. It's like, is it just because the IP wasn't strong? Was the game too simple? Was it too degenerate? Like, was it because it came out right before Evo and wasn't an Evo and that hurt its momentum? And I don't know. There's just so many things. There's so many things.
I do wish it was that Evo though. I think that would
same.
Cool. I think for DNF, like a lot of people almost got like overexposed to it earlier. Like they did the first beta test in December, then they did one like a month before release or something, and then like people kind of got a grasp on everything. They're already hating on Crusader in the first beta patch. And then the patch comes out, and I remember it was like 6 changes to Swiftmaster, like 1 change per like maybe half the cast, and that was like it. I think it was just like a little like people just wanted more, like just change it up, Especially because a lot of people hated the top tiers in that game. It was like, I'm playing Swiftmaster, I'm playing against Crusader, I'm playing against Striker whatever, and then I'm RPS with Hitman, whatever. I think like with how tired they were from like the way that those characters could force interactions, I think they really needed like a major change up,
Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Crusader because I feel like normally like what happens is there's like some month 1 or season 1 top tiers and then the meta gets figured out, and that happened a bit with Crusader. I think Crusader kind of fell off, but everybody else was like, we were right. Swiftmaster is that dude. Hitman is that guy. Striker, she's messing you up. She's guard breaking you nonstop. Like nothing else shifted in the meta besides I think Crusader is the one who fell off, and no low tier rose up, right? Like there was no like, oh, surprise, we didn't know enough about the game. I just feel like it got kind of figured out a little too soon. It's a simpler game, so like you kind of expect that. So I think with a simpler game, with like our modern taste in games, like you needed to just artificially extend the life by just
do more, and it needed, I think, also at least like a season pass or some sort of roadmap. Like they just announced their new character like after this long.
Is that
some chick with swords looked like Johnny, like,
and it's hard to get excited about that because once again, like the characters are from DFO, so unless you play that game, you're not going to really have any attachment to them. The characters are literally the names of the archetypes, right? They're not like here's Johnny with this personality, or here's Alex with this personality. Like there's no character there. It's just I do what I do. I am the grappler. I am the hitman. Like it's kind of hard to even get excited about the characters. So I do think it was a game that was ripe to have a constant trickle of DLC. Like here's simple characters that come out. Just like keep dropping them, keep things interesting. They didn't do that. I don't know. And there's like how much money in that world tour? There's a world tour going on. Like,
it is right now. Yeah.
Like there's like 50,000, 100,000 or something up for grabs. Like there's money out there, and people just in the West at least are like not. Really...
when I went to the Korea event, it was a little bit more poppin', but it's still like in the West, it's definitely does not have the same traction.
It's crazy to think that like I've never seen a game kind of like lose as much steam as fast as DNF did over I mean, it's only been like 6 months since the game came out. I mean, not even, right? It's crazy that like, I don't know. I think it was kind of related to the. I mean, at least for me, it was related to the beta. I feel like I just played the beta like too much, and then it didn't change a ton afterwards, you know. But I think it's just like people just want more changes.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the patch changes things up more than they're letting on by saying, "Oh, we're just buffing everything." You know, we'll see like what that actually means in practice, because that's just like marketing speak for like we're leaning into being the degenerate fighting game. So I'm gonna check it out. You know, I'm hoping for my boy Grappler have something to do against like Striker or against Swiftmaster. Like I just want something to do. You know, besides switch characters, is what you should do in those bad matchups. So we'll see. I'll check it out. I'm hopeful. You know, I know there's a dedicated DNF Duel community, and I don't want it to be all doom and gloom. That's not a good feel for them to have to constantly hear like, oh, what's going on with their game? What's wrong? Like,
no, for sure.
Like they get that a lot, and they just want to enjoy it. So I'm hoping for the best with that patch.
I also played Launcher. So any changes there?
Might need some buffs there. Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna give it another play.
I'll give it another shot as well, probably. Like I played Ghostblade, and apparently he's like good now, so I feel hella dumb because I was definitely like, Ghostblade is kind of trash, and now I see him like winning. I'm like, maybe I just sucked. He does a lot of damage, actually.
Yeah, he does mad damage. His neutral and air to airs were really good. Like I got to play with Kizzy a bit, and I was like, oh, like I get it. Like he can actually do stuff, but I still don't think he was like super.
I think he's like mid tier. He's like in the middle. There's a lot of mid tiers in that game.
If you didn't actually have a DP in that game, like you're so outclassed.
So ass,
Don't get me started on the DP design. That actually was my biggest gripe. The fact that like you can DP everything Grappler does on reaction. Just
that's what I hate about Persona as well. So I'm there with you.
One button DPs, right? One button DPs they're a problem. They should not exist. Anyways, I don't want to go down that route. I'm going to get heated. Speaking of getting heated, though, I guess we're on to the topic we foreshadowed a little bit earlier. You know, Nintendo at it again, but this time with an accomplice, or I don't even know how to describe how can I sum up the relationship between Panda and Nintendo here? Like, I feel like Panda is like not even the schoolyard bully. Like Panda's like the snitch on the playground. Like I'll get Nintendo after you if you don't do what I say. Like my older brother will beat you up. Like I don't understand how to summarize this.
Randall from Recess.
Yeah. It's gonna, you know. Well, what's the lady's name who actually puts him in detention? Yeah. So Nintendo's Miss Spinster and Randall's snitching on everybody. Kinda. So
some racketeering for sure.
If people don't know what happened, which I feel like if you're in the XGC world, you do know. The best summary I can have is Smash World Tour was an independent tour put on by VGBC for the Melee and Ultimate Smash community, where you would qualify and compete at the end of the season for like $250K in prizes, lots of money. At the same time, Panda Global, the organization that sponsors so many players across all fighting game titles, the biggest 1v1 esports team in the world, was putting on Panda Cup with a similar concept. You qualify for the tour at the end of the year, Melee and Ultimate, then we have $100K in prizes for Panda Cup. But Panda managed to actually officially partner with Nintendo, and Nintendo had in the past many times had strucken down Melee events.
That's like a miracle they partner with Nintendo.
Yeah, there's been years and years of Nintendo just kind of sitting on the mountains not doing anything, and then coming down like, wait, don't touch our IP.
Cease and desist.
Squash this tournament with a cease and desist. Evo, you can't stream Melee. Squash. You know, like
the Smash just do that. Wanted to exist, bro. They're just like, leave us alone. Like we don't even want you.
So the Smash community just didn't want Nintendo involved, and then Panda apparently got the license to do so. But then a week and a half away from Smash World Tour happening, which also coincidentally would have occurred a week before Panda Cup, which is already weird. Like there's two finals of the season back to back. Then they announced that they had to cancel the Smash World Tour due to the fact that they couldn't secure a license from Nintendo. And because of that, Nintendo implied that they cannot run their event now or in the future, and that they should pack up their bags and leave. And this is all due to Panda's potential influence in that decision, and a whole long year of Panda bullying other events to get Smash World Tour not involved in their events, and say, hey, don't partner with Smash World Tour, partner with Panda Cup instead. At least this is the statement from the Smash World Tour people. We're still awaiting the full detailed report.
Yeah. I know Alan hasn't. Yeah, he's gonna make like a statement, I think, somewhat soon as well about more details. So, like, it's still ongoing. Like, there's still more information coming out. But yeah, it was definitely like it sounded like the CEO of Panda was kind of hinting that, like, hey, don't partner with these events, they won't be around for long. It's like
wink wink nudge
nudge. Wink nudge nudge. So it's first of all, like, I don't even know like why he thought he could get away with saying shit like that. Like, it's like, yeah, no one's gonna say anything. Like, I could say all this bullshit and there'll be no repercussions whatsoever. Like, he is currently facing all the repercussions. So
it's not looking good. So since that all broke, like, literally 80% of all Panda players and associates have all dropped off. Like, all the players, media personalities, people who work on the content, the PG stats team, like, they've all resigned. So the Panda org is still there, but like, what is there?
Yeah, what it's left? Yeah, exactly. No, my heart goes out to all the Panda staff and players and stuff, because it's not like their. It's clearly, it sounds like the CEO is like the main culprit here. So like, it really sucks seeing like all the players like have to leave, and like, because they don't obviously they don't want to be associated with this brand anymore that's like trying to like kill such like a grassroots scene. So yeah, it's hard to see, but hopefully a lot of these players and staff like find new homes.
Right.
Yeah, I remember too, like, people being really angry over this definitely makes sense. Like, I don't really keep up with much Smash stuff, but I even knew, like, Smash has had a lot of trouble with Nintendo. And when I think Panda first like announced like this like collaboration with Nintendo, people were like mind blown. Like,
I was mind blown. I remember it.
Yeah. And it's like there was so much goodwill that built up from that. They're like, this sounds great. Like, working with Nintendo, the future seems promising, and then this shit happens. So.
Yeah, I think there was some mixed responses to that, because I think to the public, they're like, oh, finally, like, this Nintendo's turning a new leaf. But I still feel like a lot of the people in the community who have been burned so many times by Nintendo were like, we don't need them, and like, why are we seeking their approval over and over? Like, we've survived not without them for this long, but in spite of them actively trying to destroy the scene. Because like I mentioned in the beginning, like, Nintendo has only been involved with Smash Esports when they either distribute cease and desist, or like say you can't broadcast certain events. Like, they only come down with a legal hammer here and there to say don't mess with our game. Because like a big thing was like during COVID, the way that they play Melee online is with the mod, like the Slippy mod, right? So it's modifying their IP with a game modification to enable online play, which was 100% community driven. They put in tons of work to make rollback happen in Melee and have it work very well, to the point where they're running majors online. And Nintendo's like, nope, don't do that. Don't stream this giant event like days before they shut it down. Even Evo 2013, when they won like the community fundraiser, I believe, to get in, they almost shut that down. And Evo 2013, I think, revived, in many people's eyes, like Melee esports at the time, and gave it a breath of new life, really. So that almost didn't happen because Nintendo was like, don't do that. Oh wait, never mind, go ahead. So a lot of people are like, why even bother? Like, just don't even poke the bear. Like, just stay away from Nintendo.
Dude, yeah, and even the tournaments that they did sponsor every once in a while, I remember they sponsored like Genesis or something, and I always wonder, like, oh, cool, I'm sure Nintendo is giving them money to put a bunch of Nintendo ads on their stream and have Splatoon booths there for people to play Splatoon. I went to a Genesis, I was like, oh, this is awesome, like, this is Nintendo collaboration. And then I just heard later from Tio, I was like, no, they didn't give a shit. We just like gave them this free ad space. We just wanted to just not, like, they've never even given money to the competitive scene in like a real way.
Right.
And who's even with the Panda Cup,
we'll allow you to run this event.
Yeah,
if you let us put our booth up, and we won't tear you down.
Yeah, they haven't even paid up. Like, come on. Oh man, it's so sad.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
They have a clear history of just not wanting this to exist for a long time. Yeah. So yeah, like Panda getting involved with that and like finally getting some backing in some sort of way, which I think it's just the license. I don't think they got money or anything. I think they just got approved in the sense that, hey, you're guaranteed to not get a cease and desist. I guess they were trying to leverage that to like Armstrong the community behind the scenes to like be only doing Panda Cup, which, you know, it's a weird thing. Like when I was reading this story, it's like, I get it. Like at the end of the season, first of all, when they announced Panda Cup, I was like, okay, cool, Panda Cup Nintendo. I was seeing updates about Smash World Tour and Panda Cup throughout the year. I thought they were the same thing. And I watch Melee tournaments. I watch Ultimate tournaments. I'm like not hardcore in tune, but I'm pretty like, I put my phone on and in the background, I watch the big Smash tournaments very often. I'm a fan of Melee, especially. I thought they were the same thing. So I could see from a business perspective why you'd be like, doesn't it seem a little like bad competition to have 1 week here we have Smash World Tour finals, and then the next week with 60-70% of the same people, we have the Panda Cup finals. What is the finals? Like Capcom Cup is what we have for Street Fighter. Guilty Gear does their own thing as well. Like usually you have the official tour from the publisher, and that didn't exist. So clearly, like, Panda's like, okay, this is our opportunity to become the tour. Like, this is it. Like, this is what, if you play Smash, you're competing for the right to get into Panda Cup to compete at the end of the year. So, like, from that perspective, I get it on the business side of things.
There was a motive. For sure.
It's like dirty, not even dirty. It's just business tactics. It's like, I get it from a business point of view, but I think that's where it becomes so insidious to people, because that's turning the FGC into a business. Like, I think that's where the crux of the matter, why it bothers people so much. It's like, you were trying to use like what would be acceptable and taking like this normal, Armstronging business tactics in any other kind of field, it would make sense. But you're doing that from a community that's built on grassroots engagement.
I don't know. It's different when it's like, maybe. So for example, like maybe different types of controllers, right? That's like people. There's a competition in that sense. Like, okay, Smackbox, Cross Up, Hitbox, like they're competing over. I think that's like something that the FGC welcomes, right? They're like, all right, we want more. We want this type of business, like these type of competing. But if you start competing for events, like that's so different, right? And also, if events start getting taken down with like such a grassroots scene, I don't know. I feel like that's the line, Like I think that's going too far.
Well, events already compete. Events do compete, but they don't do it in like, I'm gonna get my older brother to beat you up, right? Like,
I think when events like start possibly getting canceled because of it, it's like you're going a little bit too far, even if your intent is maybe to improve your own business.
But you know what I think about all this? This is all speculation. So first of all, none of these these are all still a developing story. I just want to
these are all just
it's mostly the claims from Smash World Tour. There's been some rebuttal from Panda, and they removed Alan as CEO, even though he's still the owner of the company. So we're waiting on that. But here's my speculation. There is no way in hell Panda wanted Smash World Tour to get canceled like this. I don't think on any planet they would think that in the final 12th hour, we've already been like, butting heads for the entire year. Smash World Tour is about to go down. Why would they want Nintendo to suddenly cancel Smash World Tour right before, knowing that would be, the gasoline, the fuel has been building up. That would be the spark that blows it up. I don't think they wanted this to do this. I think Nintendo is such a large company. It has so many moving gears and people from different departments who, like the people in the IP protection department, their job is just to go out into the world and figure out ways to protect Nintendo IP. And they don't know what's going on here. And I think they just saw this going on and were like, oh, there's someone who's running a tournament that's not licensed, cancel it. And then that sparked it. And then Panda's like, oh, crap, now everything's exploding at the last second. Because why would they want Smash World Tour a week away from Panda Cup or a week away from that to be canceled? They must have known that would have been terrible PR. It would have ruined everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. What if Vinny said earlier where he was like, I don't know how they didn't expect to like not get caught. I mean, with how much Panda did stuff, I don't know what their plan was. Like, it was they've clearly strong-armed a lot of people trying to like, I don't get like a monopoly over the Smash competitive scene. So
yeah, BTS I think was kind of like the biggest victim of like a lot of like Pandas kind of.
Yeah.
Well, were they a victim or they dealt with it? That was the funny part of the statement.
Or like the BTS was like, nah, we're not working with you.
Part of the thing was Panda was trying to get people to like also give them broadcasting rights so they can broadcast events on their own channels. And part of that was for Smash Summit, which is a huge event run by Beyond the Summit. And then in the statement, BTS, the funny part was like Panda was trying to say to TOs, oh, you can't do Smash World Tour and Panda Cup. You have to choose one or the other. And they're like, no thanks. Then they're like, okay, you can do both. You keep it on Panda Cup. And then BTS are like, oh, you can't stream that. Give it to Panda Cup. They're like, no. They're like, okay, fine, yeah, whatever. Like the strong arming didn't work.
Yeah,
it was the funny part.
Like, oh, you better do it. Where else?
Yeah. So to me, I just feel like maybe they were trying to snuff out Smash World Tour slowly and get events to just back away and then have it just like have them give up. You know, like just like this isn't working. We're not really getting involved. Like we're getting shut out. But I don't think they wanted Big N Nintendo to show up.
No. There's no way. Like
put them down because that's so bad. At the last hour,
Yeah.
it was a week away, pretty much, and they announced the cancellation. There's no way they wanted that. I think that was like Panda was like, oh
yeah.
no,
I highly doubt like this cancellation happening, and Alan's like, yes, everything is going according to plan. Yeah, like I highly doubt that as well. Yeah, but I don't know. It is like clearly they had like they I know they were trying to get broadcasting rights for like not even paying BTS or something. Like they were just like, no, we want it for free, and then like BTS was like, no, screw you, like you gotta pay. But yeah, so I don't know. I really do want to see Alan's statement though. Like I think that's like I don't know when that's gonna come out, but maybe it'll be out by the time this video's out.
Yeah, it was the teaser was a bit of a cliffhanger. So
yeah, the bullet points. Yeah,
I'm intrigued at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, though, I think the takeaways are like this is just another reminder, like to keep grassroots stuff going because we've been like with our games, we've been very fortunate, right? Like we mentioned earlier, I feel like Capcom has had definitely its missteps in terms of integrating with the community here and there, and you know, there's still some issues with I think with their licensing, and you know, they had some kerfuffles where they had really strict community licensing without a lot of details, and they took feedback and changed it. So there is licensing for like all these events that deal with like more traditional FGC games. But on one hand, I'm both thankful that our publishers have been better at integrating in a more organic and mutually beneficial way. But I think it's also just a reminder, like at the end of the day, like don't rely on them. Like don't keep up your grassroots initiatives, keep up like whatever you're doing on the side, like your locals, all that stuff.
Yeah,
because like what incentive does a company like Nintendo have to keep all that stuff alive? Like Nintendo is definitely out of touch, I feel like, but they're so huge. This is like
a drop in the bucket for them.
It's not even a drop in the bucket. It's detrimental to their business because they want to push new games, right? Melee is a 20-year-old game. They're making no money off of it, even though I think they could if they re-released it. And then Ultimate is done. There's no more DLC. Like, what incentive do they have to keep this alive? They're not
just
integrated
good faith,
in
I guess.
way,
yeah,
shape, or form. They want you to drop the product and buy a new one. Like, stop playing Smash. Go buy the new Mario game. Come on. Like, what are you? Even though it's ridiculous. It's not. There's no connection there. But that's the way the company will think.
Exactly.
So yeah, like I guess the lesson is don't trust publishers. Like,
man,
keep it up on your own. You know, like at the end of the day, it can all get shut down real quick.
Yeah, I just wish the rights holders didn't just have this much power though. Like the IP laws of like that were written years ago. Like for Nintendo to even have like the ability to just be like, no, cancel this, cancel that. Like it just really sucks. But yeah.
It's like legal money getting thrown around. Like, do they even have? I'm not sure. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the full extent of the law here. So like, it's almost like a big question. Like, what if they just did it anyways? Like maybe the broadcasting stuff I can see, but can you stop people from organizing to play a game? Like. Really, at the end of the day, I don't know.
The Smash community needs to sue Nintendo. Clearly, that's what needs to happen. It'll be Smash community versus Nintendo. That'll be the next big case.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, they'll get beat down just through the lack of funds there for sure. That's the problem. But if they want to sit down and play Melee, you know, I don't know who's going to stop them. So in that regard, I really respect the Smash community for holding strong in the face.
Yeah. Shout outs to them, man.
For years. Yeah.
I just want to play the game, man. It's important. Oh man.
Well, hopefully things improve in that regard. I don't know. Panda Cup is postponed, they said. I think that's going to be canceled.
Dude, I low-key wanted all the players to just like go to Panda Cup anyway and then just troll the whole time. I thought that would have been hilarious, but at the same time, it probably would have gave it too much viewership, so maybe not. Like, just like people going there and then just like the match starts and you just don't move or something. I thought that was like a hilarious idea, but yeah.
I would love that, but I feel like people would be fuming too hard from how angry they've been on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, who was even going to run the event? Everybody quit.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like,
Yeah.
what was gonna happen? There was talk like people like, oh, I'm contractually obligated to go, and I'm like,
To what?
Are you? to Panda Cup? Like the players like, oh, I signed a contract, I have to go, and I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Who's gonna?
It's like
force
there's no
that?
one Panda Cup. It's like you're not gonna
there's
go
no
to
legal
anything.
department anymore at Panda. They all left. Like,
Who's gonna
everybody's
stream
gone.
it? Who's gonna run it? Where are the setups?
Right. There's gonna be an empty building, and Alan's gonna be there with one setup. Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen here? But ongoing story. We'll see how that goes. I'm hoping everyone from Panda lands on their feet and finds new opportunities, because there's a lot of people we know, a lot of good people in that org, and I like Panda. I people criticize their content and stuff like that, and at the end of the day, they feel like they provided like a means for people to make a career out of fighting games and like elevated the scene to a degree. So I'm just disappointed the whole thing went down like this. I was a fan of the org, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they did a lot of good work on getting like new people in, because definitely a lot of people I've seen a lot of people talk about how like the content was like, oh, I was just like looking for something cool. I found this Panda content, and it kind of led me around YouTube and watching FGC stuff, and that's really cool, right? They had a lot of YouTube channels with a lot of videos, so
right. Yeah, we'll see how it all goes. A lot of people looking for a home now. A lot of things changing. Speaking of changing, though. Changing the topic.
Nice. Nailed it.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it here.
I liked it.
All right, we got another Street Fighter 6 closed beta coming out, and so with this one, they're doing the same characters. I think the dates are December like 16th through 19th. Yeah, like so much going on right there.
Oh, no Honda? I thought they were adding Honda.
No, they didn't add the new characters. So the characters were Ryu, Chun-Li, Kimberly, Ken, Jamie, and then who are the other ones? Guile, and then Luke, and one more who I can't remember off the top of my head. But they already showed off footage of like Honda and Dalsum and Blanca, but they're still not going to be in this version, which is why the Street Fighter community is celebrating. Like, oh, still going to be the best version of the game ever.
Street Fighter without Dalsum.
Real perfect. No Honda. Like those three characters are like bemoaned to be the most like annoying because they're so weird. Like Honda, Dalsum, and Blanca. So it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to playing, but I have the World Warrior qualifier on the 17th. So I'm supposed to win a tournament to get into Capcom Cup in the middle of this instead of just like no lifing Street Fighter 6 for 3 days straight.
Yeah, don't accidentally like do some like Street Fighter 6 attacks. Like don't actually drive rush on accident.
It's gonna get smoked. Wait, what's happening?
Yeah.
I'm interested in it. I didn't really play the last one because I was sick during it, but no character speaks a ton to me. But I'm interested in just really like I really love Street Fighter's like system usually. Like I love the pacing of it. I just never really got into it at a good time. Like I started a bit with 5. I played Mika, and that was it was a different experience for what I expected. It was fun.
Season 1 Mika was something,
Season 1 Mika, definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah. But once the Guilty Gear aspect got removed from Mika, I was done pretty much. So this is really like the first one I'm giving like a serious shot to and really want to get into. So I'll play like Ryu for this beta and just have some fun with them.
Did you get into the first one? Like you were accepted into it?
Yeah, I was just too sick.
So you're automatically in because they're still doing a lottery for the second one, but people who are in the first one get in, so they're just adding more people. So are you in Beneath? Have you applied?
Yeah. I'm a Capcom creator because I uploaded 2 Marvel 3 videos. So they gave me a code, but last time I was at First Attack that weekend, so I didn't get to play. I played a little bit actually there. They had like a couple setups there, and I haven't really played that much. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I want to give it a shot. But for me, it's like I need my character. I need my boy Rashid, bro. He's not in it. He's not in it. I need my boy.
Yeah, I feel like Street Fighter is definitely a character about a game about like finding that character you like. Yeah. Like I'm very character driven as well.
Oh, same. Like, absolutely.
Which is to a fault. Like I switch to a lower tier character. I won't play the top tier. Like I respect people who can just switch characters and like play whatever's good. Like I feel like that takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man.
People do that in Street Fighter a lot.
I get too way too absorbed into like my own character, but that's what keeps me the most motivated to like play fighting games. That's why I get obsessed with my character.
Jamie was the cool character I found in the beta, and when I went to the first beta, I was like, man, I'm gonna play every character, make a video on this character, that character, learn the game, pick the top tier, and then I just played only Jamie for 3 days
Things never
straight.
change.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I feel like with this game is has the most like common core mechanics out of like any of the Street Fighter games. So you definitely need to learn like the individual characters, but just playing the game, I feel like you'll learn a lot because it's all about like the drive system.
Sure,
so as long as you play something like when your character comes out, like you'll have a good basis for the game itself because there's a lot of meters and a lot of awareness with the meter.
Yeah, dude, for sure. Like that game gives me low key Under Night In-Birth vibes, where like the drive system is so imperative to like so many decisions that you make in the game, and like you try to like avoid getting into burnout, right? So I think like it having like that system is so cool. I'm that alone is what's making me really excited for the game, and just how they tweak just making choices around the drive system. Because Street Fighter itself, like I like Street Fighter, I think it's cool. Ground based footsies, all that stuff, like it's cool. But it's always like I needed like a little bit more than that to like kind of keep me into the game. And for me, that was like having a cool character. But like when I played SF5, like I felt like the system itself didn't really entice me enough. I was like, yeah, V triggers, like I guess cool, but I need something more. Like I need a bigger mechanic, I think, for me to really enjoy this game. And I think Drive is kind of doing that. So I'm gonna give it more of a shot, definitely.
Comparing it to Uni, that alone has sold me on it more than before. I love the. What was
a lot of Uni players have said the same.
What is the system? I'm not that familiar with the Uni system.
So pretty much depending on how you would play, it would basically at the bottom of the screen. There's always it's like a tug of war going on.
Yeah.
Depending on how many actions you do that are offensive, defensive, how well you answer some things, and so on. And after I think it's 8 seconds around there, it'll end, and then whoever had the most gets chain shift, which is think of it as like a Roman cancel almost, like a quick what is it, like a quick slowdown. There's no end.
Yeah, it's like a time freeze. Yeah, Vorpal.
It's like a time freeze.
Yeah,
it's super strong. It gives you meter as well. That translates.
But all the choices you're making in the neutral game are around this primary bar at the bottom, and
you just constantly fight for grid, pretty much.
Yeah.
You said after 8 seconds, or you mean every 8 seconds?
Yeah, it's like a cycle. It's like a little circle at the bottom. Yeah, it's a little clock. Yeah.
Oh, so there's a tension at the end of the 8 seconds, right? You're trying to get it at the end of the 8 seconds, and it resets, and then you try to. So that might influence your decision making on this cycle.
Because then,
interesting.
One thing is you can shield and get a little more grid if you shield at a perfect timing, which means people are going to be looking for you to shield at the end of cycles because you want grid, right?
Yeah.
It makes a lot of interesting mind games just existing, and I love it.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that are incentivized.
Yeah, that is similar to the drive meter in that sense because and you mentioned you need it more beneath with Street Fighter 5 engine. I feel like the drive meter is really clever in that sense because they just give you everything out of the gate. You don't have the CA meter, but the supers in this game are mostly there's one damage one level 3 that might have invincibility, and the level 2 might be an install, so you might actually get some unique mechanics from the level 2. But the drive meter you have out of the gate every round, so you can just go as ham as you want.
Yeah, but makes you feel really powerful too.
Yeah, the tension is there was if you go too ham and then you go into burnout, if you end up on the back foot after that, you might lose. So there's definitely a lot of decision making in the way you manage that meter. And the fact that people can take it away from you, right? You get whiff punished, you lose your meter as well. So there's a lot of should I go for this optimal combo here or not? And I also like the fact that the juggle system and everything they solved a lot of the issues with the Street Fighter system, I feel because Street Fighter has always been, for the longest time, link-based, right? Since Street Fighter 4, Street Fighter 5, it's all mostly links. There's a handful of target combos. And Street Fighter 4 was okay, we're going to let you link almost everything, but there's going to be one-frame links everywhere. And so there's going to be some easy combos, some hard combos aren't even worth it. Some combos that do tons of damage are easy. So it's kind of all over the place. And then you can optimize as much as you want. But then Street Fighter 5 was okay, that was maybe a little too weird. Some combos were way too hard for no reason. Let's have a buffer, and then let's rein in the frame data. And then this is a much more tight, controlled experience where we kind of allow the routes, and you can the confirms are harder now. Street Fighter 4, you could confirm everything from many hits, but Street Fighter 5 is okay, the confirms are hard, but the combos are easy. So it's more about awareness versus execution.
Yeah, the confirms are harder, for sure.
In 5. But then 6 is like, okay, links are gone.
Yeah.
There's no plus frames on anything. The only way you're going to get combos is if you spend Drive Meter. Drive Meter opens up the frame data modifications and gets all the combos going.
Yeah,
so the combo
juggle
execution comes from like the juggles, how you do empty drive rush versus drive cancel, like because that uses half a meter versus 3 meters. It's like a world of difference between that. I think they moved on from the link basically. Like that was the problem with 4 is like, okay, we have a great combo system, but one frame link is kind of dead. We were in online net play, like that doesn't really translate to online play well. Street Fighter 5 is like, okay, we kind of figured out situational combo awareness to still have some sauce here. They're like, as the characters went on, they got much better about adding like saucier combos, like more complex juggles and ways to add sauce to it. Because in the beginning, like a lot of characters were very dry.
Dude, season 1, for sure.
Yeah, that's why like I moved on to Oro. I feel like he has so much combo sauce. Like they figured out with charge characters, like they have a lot of interesting charge tricks and charge partitioning stuff. So like they added high execution as the game went on. They like do cooler stuff. But 6, I feel like, okay, they got it. Like, links, we can't do links online anymore. Like, we're going to use this drive system. You'll get all your extensions from that. And then you can get creative with it. And, like, people can actually do saucier stuff and go ham, play reserve, play footsies, go ham. You have a lot of options out of the gate from how to play. So I'm super excited with that because I feel like they finally, like, nailed the balance.
Yeah.
Because 5 in the beginning was way too dry.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man. Like, and I'm also really looking forward to just players like trying to complete the round without getting burnout, right? They're just like, okay, I can do this much. All right, I gotta chill out now. Like that management is just gonna be really, that's what I'm most interested in.
Or going to burnout, sometimes
just fuck it, for sure.
Like they're ballsy, you know what I mean? Because you can still win in burnout. Like as long as you don't end up blocking, you're fine, right? Like if you keep your offense going and keep control, like if you put someone into the corner, you're okay being in burnout.
That's true.
The problem is if you like go for offense in the corner, then they jump over you, they find the one opening and you're cornered, you're like, I'm dead.
Yeah, like I use plus a bajillion,
Yeah, the drive impact, like, then you're stunned, you're like, oh no, like I immediately messed up. So I think they found a way, kind of like Uni, that's an interesting system. They keep the tension high the entire time. Like even if you're like doing that Street Fighter footsie stance, there's still the tension because now everyone has like a random poke into FADC forward into combo pressure.
I think it's really interesting. I like how you actually put it with like finding like the balance for it. I think that's really true. I never thought of it like that, but that's a really good way to look at it. I was gonna ask what your like first impressions were from like everything you've seen so far, but it sounds like you like it quite a bit, huh?
Oh yeah, it's a good game. I mean, the biggest takeaway, we're just talking gameplay. Like the main thing I was impressed with the beta is that this is the next generation of fighting games, right? Like we haven't seen an evolution in the fighting game genre in a long time. I feel like I'll have to always give the caveat to NRS games because they have always swung way above their weight class. Like they've upgraded far beyond FGC, right? Like NRS games have realized a long time ago we make a AAA gaming product, and that's why we're the best selling game of the year, right? Yeah. And I feel like the rest of the community has been slow to catch up. And I feel like Capcom is like the next one in line in terms of like big fighting game publishers. Yeah. It's like NRS, and then Capcom is the next one in line, and then I think this will pressure then ArcSys. You know what I mean? Like I feel like it'll trickle down the pressure of like, hey, we need to stop putting out games that have no content and suck in online lobbies. Like the online functionality is poor and there's no social aspects. Like the beta is social. It's a hangout. Yeah. It's like, like a VR chat almost. You know what I mean? It's like you go there.
Some very funny avatars I see that there.
You make the most grotesque possible avatar you can possibly imagine, and then you flex on your opponent and you chat, and you go to you can play Street Fighter 6, you can go play some old arcade cab games, you can watch a tournament. They have constant tournaments going on, tons of features to keep you engaged, keep you coming back every day. There's always new arcade games in like the extra battle area. Like there's lots of ways to just make this the spot to hang out, which I think is the key thing. Like fighting games have been so anti-social for so long. So that to me is the number one thing, is like, okay, we're making a real game. And we haven't even seen like the actual like world tour story mode thing that they're doing yet. So I'm excited to play the game again during the beta, but my main thing is like, okay,
it's a real product.
Entering the next generation.
That's a really good point, because I had actually kind of forgotten about it. Like I kind of accepted it from ArcSys at this point, which is a terrible thing to say. it's like with Strive, I mean, they removed a lot of like cool stuff they had from Exer. Like I don't know if either of you ever played it, but they had like a really special tutorial where
Oh yeah,
they taught you how to like
I played
move and and it was so good. And then stuff like that just disappeared from the ether pretty much. And then there's like a MOM mode, stuff like that. A lot of like extra content, and it's just gone, right?
yeah.
So
The Strive story mode is just literally just you just put the movie on and you watch it. Like there's like not much content. Yeah, I can't think of like the last time that I've really enjoyed like a fighting game's like one player content, but like yeah, NRS seems to be like doing it well. I had fun with like Soul Calibur 2 like Weapon Master mode, like that was fun for me. So like seeing SF6 like have all this like crazy content like in their one player mode, it just that's cool. I want that to be the standard going forward. If you're gonna make these $60 fighting games, like it needs to be fun as just like a one player experience as well as like having all these features.
Yeah, the social experience though I think is still huge. Like that, they
definitely.
I think like I even saw people in the beta like chatting, like exchanging tips in the chat. Like they have a free chat. I was like, you can't talk to people in fighting games. Like how is someone supposed to know? Like first of all, the games don't teach you anything. So you're playing it as just a random person. Like I play games and I got this fighting game. How are you supposed to know how to take the next step? Like you don't. Like the only reason I got lucky or unlucky, like the reason I'm here, I just told a random friend like, oh, I got this game Street Fighter 4. And he's like, oh, I play that game. Like I play it. Like I go to this tournament over here and there's these websites and I was like, oh, okay. But and that's how I ended up here. So lucky or unlucky, I don't know. But if that didn't exist, I'd be a normal guy with normal hobbies. You know, I would have been entrenched in all this.
For
so,
sure.
Like, if you don't have that connection,
more avenues.
How can you figure out what's going on? So the fact that they have the chat, like you can exchange tips, you can say, hey, hit me up on here, or like check out this video, look this up. Like it's just having chat alone. It's such, it's sad to say that's a revolution in fighting game development.
Yeah, I feel like with like a lot of like games, there's like a chat system, but like it's like such a like afterthought. Like I like the type of like you even forget it exists. Like it was like that for like Strive and I think DNF too. Nobody really uses
right. But those are in like in DNF, it's in like a private lobby where you're still coordinating with somebody from outside the platform of the game to get there, right? So with Street Fighter 6, it's like these battle hubs are giant like global servers, and you just join one, and then they can hold like I don't know, like 100 people. I forgot the exact number, 60 people maybe. Like a large number of people. So you can just go to a random one and see people and interact with people that you don't know. That's the whole point, right? So DNF Duel, you don't use it because I'm chatting with you on Discord or Twitter. Hey man, what's the lobby code? 111119. You're right, and then you go there, and then you start playing your games. Yeah. So yeah, I think the less steps we have to take to connect people, like you cannot force people to leave the platform to figure out about the game. It needs to be in the game. Like, that's what every big game is figured out. Fortnite, Modern Warfare, whatever. Like you're just the platform of the game itself. It just keeps people in it, keeps people engaged, connects people. And that's how you keep player retention and have people play the game. So that's the biggest takeaway for me by far.
On the topic of that, real quick, there's a game I play. Have you guys ever heard of like Total War, general like strategy game?
Is that a mobile game?
Wait, what's it called? Total what?
Total War. It's a PC game.
Okay.
They had I think they're like most popular one was like Total War Shogun.
The Rome one is what I remember. I googled
that
Total
good.
War.
I love that one.
I know the guy screaming in the cover. Okay, exactly. I remember that.
They have like a whole like system where if you don't know something, it'll open up like a tab, and they have their own like encyclopedia for like everything in there. Since I've seen that, I've been like, I need the same in fighting games.
Dude.
Anything that brings us closer to like that sort of thing, where it's just like way more, just like inbuilt, like you said, is just so good.
Dude,
we talked about that when we're talking about like getting new people into fighting games, right?
Right. Yeah. So does it pop up automatically, like when you're getting your ass beat? Or...
not automatically, but like
look into
this strategy. You don't even know how to block.
Yeah.
Press tab to learn how to
consider
honestly, I wish that'd be genius. It would have made my introduction to the game much easier. But like
you suck. Press tab to find out why.
It's like right click this and you open up like an encyclopedia page about this is the building you're doing, or this is how armies are composed, or whatever, and like a lot of stuff like that. Though I wish it did do that. That would be cool if it was just popping up when you're losing.
Yeah, Street Fighter 6 definitely has those features in training mode. Like I didn't touch about any of this here, but the training mode is super in depth. And
dude, yeah, it is. Yeah, it looked really good.
Yeah, it's the real deal. So beyond the gameplay, I feel like the gameplay is almost secondary to the health of the genre. To be quite honest, we've had great games with great gameplay, and it matters, but it doesn't matter. You know, like if it's not wrapped in a great package to get people to play it, at the end of the day, like the community's stagnant. So that's why I'm most excited about this.
Yeah. I hope Street Fighter 6 is truly the next step into the fighting game genre. Like I hope it actually will make those changes, like to like all the other fighting games as well. Because get a little tired of it. I'm not gonna lie.
I have high hopes. I'm positive about it.
Yeah.
Listen, you guys can all just play Street Fighter 6 if it doesn't work out with whatever comes next. You know, like don't worry, Street Fighter 6 got you covered. It'll be a good time. I'll check out your,
over till Project L.
True. We'll have something at least for sure.
No, I want to play. I definitely want to play, especially if my boy Rashid's back. Bro, you already know.
I think he was.
He was leaked,
guaranteed.
I think. Yeah. But I don't know if he'll be in the base roster. You know. Yeah.
Right. And I don't think it's a leak anymore. They released some official artwork that shows the cast.
Oh, cool. Okay.
For the first season. I don't think they made it clear if it was like the season or the release.
Gotcha.
But I think he was in there, so they just said, "Screw it, you guys already saw. Here you go."
Yeah,
here's a picture of everyone coming up. Like,
or maybe I'll just play Blanca until then. He's got like a little mini Faust now, so you know. Come on, Brian, let's play. Yeah, play my Blanca.
Wait for Project L. All right. Speaking of waiting for, I'm working on these segues here. We're waiting for that Strive patch, aren't we, guys? Oh yeah,
we are
for that Strive patch.
It's actually coming up. It's coming up.
It is coming up. It's on the 15th. And they did give us a little pop up, like I guess like a little description for what they're aiming for.
Oh, yeah, they gave like some pretty brief direction, I guess, of what they want to do with the patch, like three little sentences.
What I remember is they specifically highlighted that it's buffs for every character besides the highly rated.
It's like the opposite. Buffs, but not for everybody.
Buffs for everyone.
So it's a balance patch.
It's just a balance patch. Then after they say removing the gap in character strength rather than making overall improvements or additions. I don't really like the sound of that, but I get what they mean.
So that to me sounds like it's not doing system mechanics. Is that what they're trying to say? Like they're just doing buffs and nerfs?
Yeah, more character focus.
And then maybe not like changing character moves or adding new moves or something like
exactly.
that. Yeah.
I don't think Strive is really going to be the game where they add new moves. They really had in Xrd and like older games, they really only did that sort of thing as it was a major like new version of
like Revelator.
Rev 2 was like it was kind of advertised as everyone gets new moves sort of thing. I mean it wasn't even that much. It was like, oh, he changed Soul 6H and now he kind of like shoves his lighter in the ground instead of like I don't know, throwing it over or some shit, and then it doesn't knock you down, and that's it.
This is the big one here. This is the option to added option to skip rating update sequence and settings. Oh my god, that was such a huge fumble, and like the release of Strive, it was so aggravating to be playing the game. You know, as I was learning Guilty Gear for the first time playing that, so like I'm trying to just grind, really. Like I'm starting to get the vibe, starting to understand my opponent and the options, and then either one of us ranks up or downs or whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then it just disconnects. Like you finally have like equal footing where it feels like both of you are thinking and not mashing.
I know exactly what you mean.
When you're first playing a new game, there's so many games where like both of you are just flailing, and then when you finally have a match where both of you are like, okay, I have a few options I can test.
You just want to stay there. You just want to learn.
Stay there, and then they would just boot you away. And it's so for everybody that was so aggravating. And at a low rank, like your rating would change every other game. It felt like just horrible design for online play.
Yeah, I'm actually a little shocked it took them so long to add this, because this was a major complaint. Like I think even in the beta, like even in the second open beta, people were complaining about this. So but I mean, it's good. It's out now, right? Or it is.
And they're also kind of changing the way they're doing the rankings, I guess, too. Like I think their goal is definitely to populate more of the lower floors, because right now, like Celestial and 10th floor are a little too congested, I think. So I think they said in the slide, like to like they adjusted the conditions for the rating changes, so
Okay.
and more opponents at the same skill as like the
because Celestial is such a huge range of player. You know what I mean? Like when I got into Celestial, it was basically just keep trying until I found someone who I could just beat. You know what I mean? 'Cause some people were just godlike and destroyed me, and some people I could beat. You know, it was just like such a wide range of levels. So everyone just hit that ceiling in floor 10, and there would be everybody at floor 10. And I feel like some of the other floors, the low floors, didn't exist. You know?
Yeah, no, seriously, yeah. And I think this combined with crossplay, like kind of like bridging the gap between the player bases, is just gonna be really good for the like the lower mid level part of the game, like for all those players. So I think that's like it's good timing to adjust the rating changes along with crossplay coming. So
another good thing about this is they're adding the option to manually select like a room in the tower when one room is full. Before there would be like different rooms you could join.
Yeah, instances.
Like, you couldn't select them. Yeah, it was just like hope I get into this one this time. If you know, if you were like trying to see someone, it's like, oh, maybe they just put me in Celestial number 3 over and over again.
It's just so random.
Can't go there. I guess maybe in the park, whatever. So I mean that's nice. It's just a lot of like convenient stuff that a lot of people are asking for. And then the most important one, at least one of them, the connection string thing. I think I mean people again have been begging for this for like 2 years now, but
the Wi-Fi bros are in shambles. Let's go.
Is this supposed to be live though? Like,
so it shows you this like right before their MS. It already shows you your MS when you play against somebody, like while you play them. But now it's like you see they got 200 MS. I'm like, I'm good. Like,
but I mean, like when you're sitting here on the screen, is it a one-time ping or does it show it?
That's a good question. I don't think it's...
If they're on Wi-Fi, you know, it could be the one time it pinged.
Oh, true. Yeah. They like connected.
I wouldn't call out the Wi-Fi bros just yet, man. They'll find a way. You know,
they got a few.
They'll find a way. They always find a way.
You'll probably have to like accept a few times just to make sure every time it loads up. Like, okay, is it still good? Okay, all right, I'm joining. 200. Wait a minute.
I got a Wi-Fi check you, bro. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, dude. Okay.
Exactly.
Random story. Okay, so it was at my local, like, kind of like a while back. I was just sitting down at a setup and playing, and there was this dude that was saying, like, yeah, man. So, like, I play on Wi-Fi, and like, I know people don't really like it because you know the connection's bad, but you know, I just don't really feel like plugging in my Ethernet. It's like really far away, and I was like, kind of looked around, and then the guy he talked to was like, yeah, no, dude, I also play on Wi-Fi. Like, oh yeah, dude, yeah, totally, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, no, it's not a big deal. I don't know why everyone's making such a big deal out of it. I was just like fuming, like in my seat. I'm like, who are these people? They're out there. Damn Wi-Fi
like a dirty
bros.
word to say. Like, hey man, how about that Ethernet cable? So like sometimes it's just like not in my system. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, bro, mine's never plugged in. Oh, thank God, I could.
They like admitted they like found another one of their fellow Wi-Fi bros in the wild. I could not believe what I was hearing.
Yeah, man, I thought my Ethernet cable was always plugged in. Turned out the cable was cut in half randomly. Wow, I had no idea.
I hope you have an excuse though. What if they walk up? They're like, "Oh, Beneath, I'm gonna run some."
Yeah, you were talking to me. I didn't look who they were. I just heard their conversation. I'm like, I'm not gonna turn around. It's better I don't know who they are.
Yeah, it's rough. And some people take it pretty seriously though. That Wi-Fi conversation, you'd be surprised how emotional it gets because people like come at it like, "Oh, you're so elitist for expecting Ethernet connection and all that." And like, I get it in some situations, like. If you're a kid and it's not your house, you know what I mean? You can't run that Ethernet cable across your parents' hallway and stuff. Like, I get it. Like, sometimes it's out of your control, but I feel like if you're like an adult with your own place and you're going to locals,
if you're going to the local, like I feel like I don't know.
Like at that point, dude, it's like common. It's like just be considerate. You know, it's like it's bad manners because it feels rude to your opponent.
Yeah,
but That's why Wi-Fi indicators and ping indicators always attract so much like heat because people are like, oh, so now I can't play anymore, and it's like, well, you know,
I mean, no one said
they just have to.
Wouldn't play you.
Just you can play with each other now. Yeah, no one else wants to play with you. It's just it's a little rough.
You sound like they're like second-class citizens. Like, no, this society does not accept me. I'm like, bro, just
it's a weird tension that goes on with that, but kinda like that.
I mean, it's like, you know, sometimes I'm just not in the mood for a little choppy game, or a potential choppy game, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So, Another thing about this patch, I actually wanted to ask you again, Brian. They list some other things that they want to do. They say revised opportunities for landing highly damaging combos. So they cared about the damage, right? That was a major complaint. They say increase the reward when the defender goes on the counteroffensive, and like basically about your tension gauge and your risk level, how it like changes when you start running offense. So it sounds like they want to buff defensive kind of like, counter actions, and they want to reduce like exploding off of one hit. Specifically, the risk change could help a lot for like if you end your turn, they start their turn. Obviously, Arxis has a unpredictable history when it comes to balance changes, so I'm hopeful, but we'll see. Does that sound like appealing to you? Do you feel like kind of mashing on any Strive, given the patch and update Strive?
I mean, for me, like to me, I only stopped playing Strive because Oro came out in Street Fighter, so I didn't really have a problem with the game. It was just I have limited time, and so it was more just okay, I've got to focus on this for now. So I didn't really have any of those main complaints because I had no prior Guilty Gear experience. So it was just, to me, it was a very fun time to play Soul and then have all the Guilty Gear people be pissed and like, watch them just like whiff throw tech 30 times Soul, in a row. Yeah, because I had the don't ever throw tech beat into me by Street Fighter 5, and then Guilty Gear heads were like mashing on throw tech nonstop and whipping. So to me, it was just a fun time period. So I stopped playing before like Happy Chaos and all like the problem characters really came to be. I was the problem character, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't really care that much about these changes. Like, I didn't really think there were problems to begin with. I guess, to me, what I needed... Like, do they have, like, frame data indicators in the game?
No, they still don't. I really wish they would add that.
It's stuff like that. Like, that's the main thing that started wearing on me. Same thing with DNF Duel, right?
Yeah.
Like, the fact that I had to put in a lot of effort to start understanding certain interactions. Like, Nago is doing random moves, and I have no idea what's plus or not. And, like, I get that there's, like, cancels into cancels, so there's frame traps and, like, mind games there. But I don't even know the data behind the mind games to understand the different options, right? For me to learn that, I'd have to record Nago, learn the character, look up a tutorial, ask someone. You know what I mean? There's a lot of hoops I'd have to get through to start understanding certain things that where I was like, I hit the roadblock where it's like I want to understand what's going on more than just mash anymore. And there was too many barriers for that entry, and that's what happens to me with DNF Duel. Same thing. Like there's that roadblock where like, okay, I'm a competitive player. I know to get to the next level, I'm going to have to start putting in a lot of work, and there's not tools to make that easy. Is it worth it to me or not? And the answer is just no. So I think that to me would have made a huge difference if I could see frame data in the game. Like, what is Beyblade on block? I don't know. Like, what is this move on block? Like, I don't know. Like, it was just I had to do too much work to start.
Yeah, go to Dust Loop. Yeah, it's just annoying. Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. So that's the main thing to me. I mean, if they change it up, I'll probably mash a little bit. But if I stick with it, I think honestly, frame data and stuff like that in training mode would have helped keep my retention with the game better.
I mean, RXS has been always pretty bad about stuff like that, though. The training mode in this game has been a major improvement compared to older games.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you matched on the Rev 2 a little bit in training mode, and you already know how it's archaic, to say the least. I don't know, features like that, I'd love them to. I really want RXS to put in more effort. I mean, that's why, like you said, it's good that SF6 is kind of bringing things to the table.
And Dragon Ball's like had it before too, which is an Arxis game, which is like, because that was like the last game I was playing the most competitively before Strive came out, and I was just like, where's the frame data go? What happened? I thought we learned. Why are we going backwards? Like,
and I feel like in a game like Strive, frame data is more relevant than Dragon Ball, even, right? Because
way more so.
Dragon Ball's a string cancel heavy game, but like Strive has individual moves that you might let rock. Like it's kind of has a bit of like traditional Street Fighter stuff here and there, right? Like you're not chaining everything all the time. It would have been great to just know, like, if they don't cancel this move, whose turn is it? You know, like that basic, and not have to like really dig through and learn the moves of the character and record it and all that. Yeah, that would have really helped me get over that hump and start understanding situations and being satisfied with counterplaying them.
For sure.
For
sure. So it sounds like the crazy damage of the game, which seemed like it's either you love it or you hate it. Like I guess that wasn't really a big deterrent for you, which is.
Maybe if I got more serious, it would have been right.
Yeah, for sure.
It was just a funny game to me in the meantime.
Yeah. No, I feel it. But yeah, I'm interested in what they mean by revised opportunities for landing high damage. So, like right now, the game I'd say like off of far pokes, like if most characters counter hit far slash or something, they lead to like pretty good reward. So I gotta imagine maybe that's what might be tweaked more, or maybe base damage like in general gets lower. It's hard to say. But the one small fear I have, I really hope it doesn't happen, is the damage gets lower, matches take longer, and we go back to 2 out of 3. Keep it 3 out of 5, please. Don't go back to 2 out of 3. This is just my tinfoil hat theory. Yeah, no. I'm being serious. I'm being serious.
Listen, they can't take it away, but maybe that's a blessing in disguise. Maybe
Suckers.
that should be that's a huge thing to me. I've been thinking about like, why can't we do more 3 out of 5 for certain games? Street Fighter 5, I feel like is on that cusp of like,
the game's helpful though.
Yeah, like, that's one thing I respect about the Smash community. Like they moved to 3 out of 5 in top 128 at some super majors, right? They're like, this is what we came for. Like, we're serious about this. But it's because FGC, there's so many games in one event. Like, it's
I think as long as time constraints allow, like, who wouldn't want to have more sample size to determine the match winner? And also, like in Strive specifically, personally, I've made so many 3-0 like reverse 3-0s. Like I think like there's a ton of at the beginning there was kind of like some back and forth between 2 out of 3 and 3 out of 5, and a lot of data they'd be like, oh, it doesn't actually make a difference. Like the person who wins like the 2 out of 3 usually won the people who won the 3 out of 5 usually won like the 2 out of 3. So I don't know. I didn't like that data because I don't know.
But that matters. They have that same data for Street Fighter, right?
Please.
And I think it's more consistent in Street Fighter than Strive. Like whoever wins the first to 2 usually wins the first to 3, and I think that's probably a more general trend in Street Fighter. But to me, it's like that doesn't tell the story in the data, because who cares if it only happens 15% of the time? That makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it's only 10%. I'm like, that's
10% it's huge. Like that's a completely different tournament. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like completely changes the course of history.
Yeah,
right. So to write it off of like, oh, it's a statistical insignificant, I'm like, the numbers don't really tell the full story there. Like that matters to me. Like that matters a lot. And actually, I've been on the opposite receiving end recently. I've been up 2-0 in like 3 tournaments and lost 3 straight after. So maybe we should go into it. Never mind.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm getting downloaded out here.
for sure.
I like the 3 out of 5. I don't know. I'm so like, I got conditioned by the Exerd first to 2, so like I'm always just fine with whatever. I mean, that was probably the worst, going against like, someone like Johnny or Alpha.
Yeah, 2 out of 3 Johnny.
Games.
Like, oh no, I'm dead.
It was rough. I mean, it's conditioned me for everything else, but I love watching 3 out of 5 way more than the 2 out of 3.
I think most spectators agree as well, honestly.
It depends. I see some value. Sometimes there's some like blow-ups in 2 out of 3, which kind of make a story as well. So I see value in both. We've had plenty in the Street Fighter community of like Tokido losing to Cool Kid at the first premiere of the year in pools. You know what I mean? There's stuff like that where it's like, okay, like that's kind of like I get it too. Like sometimes for a spectator's point of view, it's like we want to watch you squirm and be stressed and blow-ups happen. So I see both arguments.
But I think the revised opportunities for landing high damaging combos, I think they're trying to lower the cortisol levels of Strive players. That's the vibe I got from reading that line. Yeah. But we'll see.
Yeah. Do you guys? So maybe get a quick run through. What do you hope for, and what do you actually expect? I'm guessing no frame. People want Happy Chaos and Nago nerf, right? Like that's the vibe I get. Like that's the 2 number 1 targets for this patch, but is that going to happen?
So the thing about Arxis is like, I don't know, they definitely do things by their own rules. They're not afraid to ignore massive groups.
Buff Johnny.
Oh God, don't remind me. Or Alpha. God, it was rough. Basically, like during Exerd, Johnny was released and he was like easily the the strongest top tier they had released, and that's saying something because they had super strong top tiers on release in Sign, and they nerfed him, and they buffed him again to number 1 after they nerfed him, like, and they didn't even nerf him that bad. They nerfed him to like 3rd, and they're like, oh, we can't have that. Get back to 1. Like there's definitely like a system of top tier they vastly prefer, and they're not afraid to cling to it when things are getting when people are complaining a lot. So I think I'd love to say that they are definitely going to reduce the damage overall. I'm sure they will, like, for most characters, but I bet there'll be like 1 or 2 characters that just like they pretty much lose no damage, and then they're just killing everyone else, and it'll be like the same thing all over again.
Right.
But I think like most people want, like, you know, Ramlethal, Nago, Happy Chaos. Who else? I feel like there's someone else I'm forgetting.
Leo.
Leo. Some people hate Leo.
Yeah.
I haven't heard too much about Leo. It's the big 3 to me are Ram, Happy Chaos.
Yeah, for sure. Those 3 are the biggest violators by far, for sure. Yeah.
But I think it's also just like they've been top tier for a long time. Like Happy Chaos, like after his like his kit kind of got figured out, like a month in, he's been considered like the best. Ram was top tier since like the first beta, pretty much. Like,
yeah, Ram is just too simple and does too much damage. Like,
yeah,
even I know that from just barely playing the game. Like, the character just has full screen moves and just mauls you and you die.
Yeah, and then
Nago, too straightforward.
Nago was considered pretty good after like month 1, and then he kept getting buffed. Like, they buffed him about 3 times. Like, he was always considered quite good, but they just kept buffing him.
Yeah. He's kind of like the Johnny of Strive. I feel like
they love, like, I feel like making a cool character, and they're just like, we want them to be really good.
Like this really cool big sword guy.
Nago,
cool, yeah.
Yeah, Nago and Happy Chaos are sick character designs.
They're really cool.
They're some of my favorite.
Yeah,
I agree.
But yeah, I feel like there's a fine balance to ride with that. Like, I feel like Luke is going through the same pains as that with Street Fighter V, because
oh man, I see that dude everywhere.
I'm usually not tinfoil hat about like DLC and publisher motivation, but I 100% believe that Luke is made top tier because they want to, you know, flood the public with this character.
Dude.
Make sure you get used to him.
Yeah,
he's the poster boy of Street Fighter 6. So here you go, get used to him. In Street Fighter 6, he seems mid tier as hell right now.
Yeah,
first beta at least. And so yeah, I really feel like they did that on purpose to, like, it's the final character. He's the poster boy. Get used to it. It's our character. Even if it like ruins the last year of Street Fighter V, you know, ruins for some people because he's like so pervasive. I think there is favoritism there for a goal in play. So I can see that also with Arxis, but at least those characters are cool. I don't think Luke's that cool.
He looks cooler in 6 at least, like aesthetically. Like, I like his new haircut.
I
and
think
stuff.
he looks cooler in 5 than 6.
What? Really?
To me, in 6, he looks really clunky and like more boring. I don't know.
For sure.
I think in the videos he looks better. In gameplay he looks better.
Aesthetically,
in 5,
I mean, like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, because he looks super lame in 5. I'm sorry, but yeah. Yeah, it's hard to get my hopes up about what Arxis will do because they have such a track record of just doing whatever they want. But yeah, at the very least, like, out of principle, I want them to nerf Ram because I feel like they're just, if they were going off results, the Ram players, right? They just keep shit in the bed. They just don't get the results that, like, the Happy Chaos players and the Nago players get. No. This is a conspiracy, I swear. I bet they all got a group chat. They're like, all right, we're doing a little bit too well. We got to throw now. Like, I'm just like, yo, this character is definitely like.
Rams never really closed out like a big major that I've seen. No. Nago and Happy Chaos everywhere.
Yeah, for sure. Like, only recently Ram won a major. Zondo won in France. So, like, but in general, like, that character never, like, got the results the other characters did. But yeah, I don't know. I just hope, like, I don't know what they go off of, honestly, but I hope they see the full picture. Arxis, please, God, please nerf Ram, please.
I don't have high hopes for them nerfing Ram. Sorry to burst the bubble. I have high hopes for other things, but I feel like Ram she's staying around. I'm kind of tired of her as, like, the way she is as is. I just, if she's, like, gonna stay top tier, like, I don't know, make her interesting in something else.
Yeah,
like,
at least make her like interesting.
No more Far 5H. I'm kind of bored of this.
Yeah, it's just
right. Yeah, I think that's from a spectator point of view. I have no horse in this race. I just wanted to get shaken up.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's as weird as, or not weird, but I don't know if people respect that culture or not, but patch culture is real. You know, we come to expect having things just shaken up to keep it fresh and keep it interesting.
Yeah. Gotta keep it fresh. Not enough Faust. Get more Faust on the screen. Buff Faust. You know. We gotta.
Otherwise, we move on to the other new shiny.
Yeah.
Toy, right?
So we just swap out new shiny top tier.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like Street Fighter was doing that for a while. Then they kind of settled down and kept some things consistent. But I think Arxis might realize that. Maybe not, because I think a lot of people are really expecting some change ups with this one. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, hopefully.
Buff Happy Chaos.
You'll be seeing us on SF6.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go. Arxis, do the right thing. Do the right thing. All right. Well, I think that just about concludes all of our topics. So that was a pretty juicy hour and a half something discussion here about all the news. There's tons of news that came out in the past week or so. So we had a lot to bite into. So I guess this is us signing off on the CLG podcast, the very first one we've ever done. We'll see how this gets chopped up or not for YouTube. And if you're watching this, I guess let us know what we should call this thing and maybe what else you'd like us to discuss in the future, right? So I think we had a lot of news this time, but we might just talk about general fighting game topics and more evergreen discussions. So if you want to hear our perspectives, let us know in the comments below.